tonight's meeting, please do so now at the sign-up table near the entrance. Speakers who signed up through the district office before 5 p.m. last Friday will be allotted 5 minutes to speak. All others who sign up at the door this evening will be allotted 2 minutes. As a courtesy to others, please silence all electronic devices and begin to find your seats. The meeting will begin shortly. Thank you. That's my 5-minute announcement, which usually is given 3 minutes, and I don't start these meetings until 6:35.
Okay.
I missed the train, but I don't know what
I give 5 minutes to start.
She's going to send you a report, the new recreation leader. So she's going to have a monthly report. So that'll help. And you can meet with her if you want, but we just thought this would be easy too. Okay, cool.
Okay, well, we're going to hear about that. You'll hear something about it.
We got a lot going on. You can see. We have all the clubs and then we have all the other events. A lot of stuff.
Looks like a meat tenderizer.
Yum. Steak? Are we getting steak?
Are you downgrading the gavel?
Where is the board member complaint form?
Oh, that's not bad.
My pen's ready.
I think I'm...
Dan, how do you spell your last name again?
It's unknown to you.
I'll give you a sticky note. You can make a complaint on the sticky note, and I'll put it on my desk.
How old is that?
Yeah, I'll color.
Hey, Dan, what's in the cup?
Yeah, 25.
Shake up.
Yeah, mine too.
Charter and the advisory board like the rules advisory.
Yes.
Nobody likes us no more. Hey, maybe they stated it so mean to that guy. A mile away.
That is not my.
Oh, that's Adam. No. He mows lawns. Very cheap too. I only started at 6:35. I give them a few minutes to
if I don't go visit soon, they're gonna come burn my house down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't want to go. Come to Newfield, it's safer.
Yeah, but it's boring out there. You don't get to hear all the gossip. You people are dull. And look, I'm okay with the champagne Thursdays, but you need to start doing whiskey Fridays. Okay. I'll bring the whiskey.
The reason why we don't have a Whiskey Friday is because all of us are doing I love whiskey. He does not want me.
You know what?
Yeah, that'll work.
We don't, I realize you have a pool, and we don't want me skinny dipping in it, drunk on whiskey, so we'll cancel them
It's
whiskey.
not like I have floaties, you'll be fine.
There might be a day or two that I drink more. Yeah, let that be the beginning of your recording.
All right, Chair, we need to get this rolling.
All right.
We don't want to be.
Okay, you can hear me now. Oh, apparently I'm doing an AT&T. Ready? On behalf of the Rainbow Lakes Estates Advisory Board, welcome to the August 21st, 2025 meeting. We truly appreciate your presence and participation this evening. As a courtesy of those around you, please silence all cell phones and electronic devices. If you need to take a call, we ask that you step outside so the meeting is not disrupted. We also remind everyone that talking or outbursts from the audience will not be permitted during the meeting. Please take a seat if one is available and help us maintain a respectful, orderly, and productive environment. Thank you for your cooperation and for joining us today. Agenda and public comment guidelines. Scheduled speakers who registered in advance will be allotted 5 minutes to speak. If you signed up at the door, you will be granted 2 minutes. If you wish to speak on a non-agenda item, you may do so during the public comment portion near the end of the meeting. No additional time will be allotted beyond what is specified. When you are called to speak, please clearly state your name and address for the record. Provide any supporting documentation to the staff assistant. Be aware that all statements and materials submitted will become part of the official public record. Respectful conduct reminder. This board has not allowed in the past and will not allow in the future any personal attacks or insults directed at Rainbow Lakes Estates and Marion County Municipal Services staff, advisory committee members, or community volunteers. We ask that all comments remain respectful, stay within your allotted time, and focus on specific issues relevant to the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation, commitment to a productive discussion. Board members and guests, and board guests. If you wish to specifically call upon and speak with an individual in the audience during the meeting, please address the chair first before doing so. However, you will not need to address the chair to speak directly with other board members or with members of the public who are addressing the board during the agenda or public comment portions of this meeting. Thank you for helping us maintain an orderly and respectful meeting process. Okay, let's go with the invocation now. Holy One, known by many names and beyond all names, thank you for every seat that has been filled here today, for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. We thank you. Only you truly know what we are setting out to accomplish today. We have an idea, a vision, hints, and daily instructions. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. However, only you can see in perfect detail the end of every beginning, every project, every season, every life. Nothing is ever in vain, for even mistakes and missteps are used for good. Your righteousness transcends all our efforts and understanding. Please forgive us our pride, the pride that puffs us up, and the pride that threatens to unqualify us. Strengthen our confidence in who you have made us to be. Set us free from comparison in order to work together efficiently. Bless this meeting today, all those present, all the residents, volunteers, and employees of Rainbow Lakes Estates, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterwards. Ready us to make every moment count. Amen. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Amber Bolander,
Here.
Kathy Bryant. Here. John Connor.
Here.
Alan McKay.
Here.
Dallas Finley.
Here.
Steve Schwartzinger.
Right here.
Dan Wilcherson.
Here. Okay, we're moving on. Okay, an announcement. I'd like to take a moment to introduce the members of the Rainbow Lakes Estates Advisory Board. And if you guys would kind of raise your hands as I say your name here. Serving as Vice Chairman and Public Safety Representative is Alan, also known as George McKay. Our Buildings and Grounds Representative is John Connor. Our Code Enforcement Representative is Andrew Boonlander. Amber's new, what is it? Bonlander. I'll get it sooner or later. Amber's new to the board. Amber, would you like to introduce yourself? Could you turn your microphone on, by the way? You gotta move it
Yeah,
close.
bring it close, yeah.
You gotta flip it.
I am Amber Bonlander. I have recently moved back to Rainbow Lake Estates after a 20-year separation. I do live around the Rain Tree Street area, and I come with many years of experience in the volunteer work realm, public service, volunteerism, community management, and everything else that you can ask me, I probably have accomplished or done. I thank everybody for welcoming me, and I look forward to hearing from everyone.
Thank you, Amber. Representing Levy County is Dan Wilshusen. Our Recreation Representative is Kathy Bryant. Our Roads Representative is Steve Stritzinger. Steve, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Steve Stritzinger. I'm back on the board again after a hiatus of about 3 years. Volunteer fire department here in the Rainbow Lakes Estates. And I'm just here to help out the community.
Just so you're aware, Steve was on the board, and Steve is also an officer in what is now Marion County Fire Rescue Station 14. But at that time, we oversaw Rainbow Lakes Estates Volunteer Department. And Steve was an elected chairman, actually, and it posed a conflict, and Steve chose the right decision, actually, in my mind, to serve the public safety of our residents and stay with the fire department versus this board. So, welcome back, Steve. Okay. And we thank you all for joining us. Oh, me. And I'm G. Dallas Stevens, serving as the chairman of the advisory board. Okay, we thank all of you for joining us this evening. Public comment and agenda items. On agenda items, we have 0 public comment for agenda items. Okay, 2A, approval of minutes. Are there any questions or concerns regarding the minutes of July 17, 2025 board meeting? If there are no questions or corrections, may I have a motion to approve the minutes followed by a second?
I would like to make a comment about the minutes. It's been a concern of mine for quite a while. The minutes that we receive are truncated. A lot of times they don't really reflect what actually happened in the meeting. It's kind of like a comic version of the truth. And we need to have, all right, I put in my report that I'm recording the meetings and I put them on YouTube because in the past we have had problems where sometimes even whole subjects were gone. They were just, well, I guess they weren't important enough to print. They are important enough to print. Everything that happens in this meeting should be reflected in these minutes without question. And I object to that strongly. Therefore, I will not support the minutes.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I can't make a motion on these ones either. I abstain.
I'm sorry.
I can't make a motion on this set of minutes either. The last set I couldn't because I wasn't present at the meeting. This one I was present, and now I have the full minutes. the minutes that were sent to me are not complete. They do not have this board's, each individual report. So it's like I don't have anything to validate on my notes. So I can't. They were incomplete again this time.
Anyone else?
So I got a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I'm working. All right, so what are we expecting the county staff to do? Record everything verbatim?
No, I don't think that. No,
And then transcribe every bit of that, and then provide those dead trees for each one of these board members to review, and then to have a second, or, you know, to make a motion. So my question is, what do we expect the staff to do? I understand that things are left out, they've been left out, I've been here for 11 years. I've been following this organization for 11 years. And the minutes have always had a period, a comma, a word, or more left out, just because it happens. So what are we asking the staff to do? What do we expect the staff to do? What do we want in order to make this approvable by this board?
I agree that, you know, the minutes are not like a court recording process. I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting word for word everything that was said and occurred in the meeting. But I think that all topics that were discussed here and those items that are relevant should be recorded within those minutes. And that includes, for me, the reports that each and every one of these board members takes the time to sit down, compose, and put together. They need to be included for review. They are not printed for us to review. They're emailed. So if you choose to print it, that's on you. But I can do an electronic file. I just want a complete electronic file.
So I'm asking you, Dallas, which is now, I'm asking the staff, hang on, here's my question.
You know,
Does what Rainbow Lakes Estates send to the county for approval, does that have all the attachments of all the reports?
that's a question. When you send these to the county, are you attaching all the board member reports?
Right now, they're not posted, right, what's posted is the agenda and the actual minutes. If you want the board reports included on that as an attachment, that's definitely an easy fix you can do.
Okay, so
If that's what you're referring to as missing.
I'm asking the question. I know I'm not referring to anything that's being missing. I'm just asking an administrative question. When y'all submit this to the county for approval and whatnot, does that include all the board members' reports also? Is that what you're asking to have done, and would that satisfy the members of this board?
Look, I realize the minutes are always a condensed version with any public meeting, but I have noticed, like, the one thing I did notice with this, like the announcements, although what I announced is much wordier, they have left out numerous other events that I've announced here. I do think that the board report should be attached to the minutes. And I also want to bring a note to the county that the last time the county website, the Marion County website, our minutes were updated was August 18th, 2024.
They're currently updated. I've done that since the last board meeting.
They're currently updated?
They are.
It's taken a year.
They're updated right now.
Okay.
We fixed the access, they are currently
Okay.
updated.
Because also at the same time, the description of the Rainbow Lakes Estates MSD Advisory Council dates back to 1970, and I don't think we had an online website in 1970. Members serve a 3-year term. The RLE Advisory Committee submits a letter to the county commissioners requesting ratification of the MSD Advisory Council members elected by the residents of RLE. The district board of said district shall appoint an advisory committee consisting of 7 registered electors
residing within said district, 6 to be residents of the Marion County, Florida, and 1 to be a resident of Levy County, Florida, to serve a term of 1 year or until their successors be appointed for an annual term beginning on December 1st, 1969 and ending on November 30th, 1970, and for each annual period thereafter. Is the county aware that our MSD legislation was updated in 2001 and we are no longer elected by the people? So we've got a year with the minutes not being updated, and we've got 40 years with the description of the advisory board.
Can you check it again and let me know what's on your list is still outstanding, and I can make those edits now, because I did go through Rainbow Lake State's entire webpage. There are other links that are a different webpage, so sometimes I miss them, so if you can go through it and send me what's left on your checklist, I'll make those updates.
Katie, is this on the Rainbow Lakes Estates page itself?
The Marion FL, when you go to the Rainbow Lake Estates page within Marion FL, it's there.
And that's where I found this.
Correct, yeah.
So could somebody look into
Right,
having
well,
them update the actual description? I'd appreciate it.
When I had checked all of this, as Dallas had found it, the stuff hadn't been updated in more than a year. And, we were actually in violation of the law.
Actually, we were not, because the minutes get posted to the Board of County Commissioners meeting every month. So they are on the Marion County Board of County Commissioners agenda at the end of each month, and they are approved by the Board of County Commissioners. So that satisfies the law portion of it. The website itself, yes, we were behind a little bit, but that's because we realized that Judy Calpatera was the one that was uploading those minutes. When she left, we didn't realize that we didn't have access to upload those. So now that that was brought up in the last meeting, I think it was the budget meeting, you guys brought that up. We have worked with IT and PR to get access so we can start updating those. I would like to ask the board that if you see issues with the website, if you would contact us and let us know when you see that issue, so that way we can get it fixed.
Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
I think, back to the minutes, I think that what this board is asking is possibly a little more detail, although still a condensed version. And I think what you're really asking is to have our reports attached to before they're submitted to Marion County. So, can that be taken care of? Yes? Is that it? All right, so in lieu of that, I'm going to forgo the vote on these minutes and push them back till next month. Okay.
I got a question. So what's that do to us? Because these minutes go before the Board of County Commissioners. And so you're now saying you're not going to submit the minutes. Can the minutes be submitted? Can we vote to have the minutes submitted as long as they attach the reports that were also provided?
I wouldn't have a problem with that. I would just like to see a little bit more of the detail. So do you want to?
I'll make a motion. I have no problem with that, all right? I'll make a motion that the minutes are approved and submitted to the county along with the attachment of last month's member reports.
I'll second that on an edit.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously to submit the minutes with the attachment of all our reports.
And we will work on that in a little bit more detail for future minutes.
Thank you, Chad.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving on. Advisory Committee reports. Vice Chairman, Public Safety Representative Alan George McKay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fire rescue incidents for July, there were 8 fire calls and 49 medical calls. We had a rather busy medical season. Regarding the traffic signal, the following was received from Kevin Marquez, FDOT professional engineer. The review for the first draft continues at this time. The estimated time to begin construction execution of the contract should be next spring. And Once the contract is underway, I anticipate the construction time frame to be 6 to 9 months. Most of the time frame will be spent with the contractor working on procurement of the traffic signal structures and awaiting delivery. I've been informed current lead times are 4 to 6 months for traffic signal mast arms. That's the aluminum arms instead of concrete. Concrete is what they would normally use. The mast arms here have to be done because of our unique situation. The actual boots on the ground construction begins once all materials are delivered to the contractor, and then typically lasts 2 to 3 months of intermittent work. In summary, our goal is to finish design activities in spring of 2026, execute construction contract spring 2026, and with 6 to 9 months of construction time. It seems a little long to me, but that's okay. Expected construction end in fall or winter of 2026. I know the timelines are large estimates, but it's hard to know lead times with the large structures such as mast arms. And that's all I have to say.
Is that it?
And a delayed road report, the condition of the berms or on the side rhythms of Seacliff is awful. There are huge drop-offs there. There are huge holes in the road. Numerous. You can just drive down and you can see them. And especially at intersections. Intersections where the 90 degrees where it intersects with the road. Sometimes the holes there are big enough to swallow a Volkswagen. You know, it's ridiculous.
Have you reported it to the district office?
No, I haven't. I'm just bringing that now. But we just drove down there yesterday and drove by it. That's not right.
I actually have a couple of things where roads are concerned, but I'll turn them over to Steve so he can look into that for next month. Okay, thank you, George. Buildings and Grounds Representative, John Connor.
All right, so I just want to start this by saying that our grounds crews and maintenance people, that they're doing a fantastic job. All of our parks, all of our properties look fantastic. I just wanted to start by saying that our grounds crews and maintenance crews here, they're doing a fantastic job. All of the properties look great. I went by all of them today. They're all nice, neat, everything is picked up. So there's not much to report on that. I didn't find any damage or anything. The big thing that I did want to ask about is trash cans. I noticed that there's not many new trash cans. So I know in the past we had a problem with beer cans on the ground. So if we had a trash can at like the art center, might help.
I'm sure it would.
So I would like to see about possibly getting trash cans. Other than that, everything's
Maybe
good.
we could collect the bottles and cash them in.
Well, you can.
How's that for great revenue?
Anywhere I can get it.
Absolutely. So that's about all I have.
All right, thank you, John. So can we get a trash can over there?
At Creative Arts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the park? You're okay with the
Yeah,
park? Okay.
I was gonna say, I would like it if they could check out, because I understand what you're saying, because I go around and I pick up
Yeah.
too, you know? Winding Hills Park needs one. I'm not sure if there was one or currently is one at the boat ramp, but that is another park facility, should have trash receptacle.
They did.
I know there is one, at least one at Seacliff, so we're okay there. And we have a couple of them here, so I think it's just, let's make sure that the facilities that are open to the public have some place to put the trash other than on the ground.
We don't want litter bugs to have excuse. They don't need it.
Remember, Marion County's zero tolerance when it comes to litter, okay?
You know, since we're actually talking about the buildings and grounds, and Jen, maybe you can look into this. Several years ago, we had grills around the pavilions at Seacliff Park. Kids or whatever had stolen the, what do you call that, like the racks out of them.
Great.
So somebody, a staff member here on their own, had decided just to remove these barbecue grills that were cemented into the ground. Could you possibly check with maintenance and see if they are in the maintenance yard anywhere, or if so, could they
Yeah.
possibly be put back into the parks?
Yeah, I'll see if we still have them.
Thanks. All right. Code enforcement representative Amber. Now, throw up your first name. Amber. You probably have nothing.
I do not have.
What I would recommend doing is reaching out to Jen and Katie, and they can explain to you what your responsibilities are as far as, code enforcement and what have you. It's not like you're supposed to go up to somebody's house and ding the doorbell and say, clean up their mattress that's laying on the front yard for 6 months. Although you will find that on a few houses. I have a theory, if it does not say for indoor outdoor use, it does not belong outside. So if you could reach out to them, that would be great.
I'll do that, thank you.
All right, thank you. Levy County Representative Daniel Schuson. Now, see, it took me about a year to pronounce your last name.
He is being honest with that, so don't worry, he will get it at some point. Talk a lot. We'll remember your name. All right, Levy County, currently on code enforcement, we don't have anything that are unaddressed issues. We are monitoring a couple of pieces of property out there where we're seeing a lot of illegal dumping. It's one of those situations where, as a board member or even code enforcement, if it's not on an easement, we know it's illegal dumping, but we cannot go onto private property and remove it. So the problem is that once the dumping has occurred, all we can do is notify the landowners to let them know that they are currently in violation for improper or illegal dumping. And then it's up to them to remediate the issue. Road maintenance, I don't have anything new or any updates. Again, Bill's crew was out there. They did do some sand remediation on 114th, which is a private driveway causing that. Also, it's really not even an RLE driveway. It's one of the ranches beside us. But they do empty onto our road. And then, of course, the base of 105th at 136. So that's an ongoing issue, and it will continue to be until engineering gets out there and fixes the runoff issue that we have there, or until after the rains. As far as public safety goes, we don't have anything for public safety at this time, so other than that, Levy County is pretty clear.
Thank you, Dan. And my favorite report, Recreation Representative Kathy Bryant. There you go.
Good evening. Okay, the Fibercraft Society meets on the second and fourth Saturdays from 12 until 3. The Pins and Needles Butchers Club, they meet on Mondays from 10 until 2 at the Creative Arts Building, over the Creative Arts Building. The Poker Club meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 3, and that's at the Creative Arts Building. And I believe that I saw recently that they're looking for more people. The Domino Club meets on Friday nights here at the community center, and that's at 7 o'clock. The Tater Talk changed to Thursdays for the summer from 10 until noon in this building. That's correct.
Steve Stritzinger.
Nothing to report.
No, I didn't think so. Okay. 3B, Municipal Services and RLE Staff Reports. Katie Burton, Marion County Municipal Services Community Manager. I actually have, do I have your title right this time? I have so many business cards with different titles.
Appreciate that. Before I jump into the staff report, I'm going to do personnel updates. Zach Davidson, our operations manager, is no longer with Marion County, so we will be hiring an operations manager. Further in that process, you will be aware. We've onboarded Miguel on our maintenance team here at the community center. He's an amazing guy. Overdo things. He is an electrician in his past life, so he's identified some problem areas and he's already working on. So happy to have him on staff. Megan, our rec leader, has onboarded and we have an offer out for the rec leader part-time position. So we are doing well on staffing, and of course Jen is onboarded with us, so we're so happy to have her too. We have had an emergency repair at the rec office. It was a septic plumbing issue. It stayed within our repairs budget, so it really was no budget impact, but it was an emergency repair. It's been handled. Our team did a great job with those vendor relations and getting that taken care of so that our rec office could be up and running for us. So moving into our staff report, for June, our fitness center had 182 check-ins. Senior center had 30, 15 at the plant spot. Tater Tot Tuesday had 39 spots, and our meet and eat dinner hosted 89 residents, totaling 545, including all of our clubs, for participation in the month of June. For July, we had 206 check-ins at the fitness center, no check-ins at the center that month. Then we had 18 at our plant swap, 70 at our Tater Tot Tuesday event, and no meet and eat that month, totaling 406 participants for the month of July.
Attendance, Tater Tot Tuesday. Just for clarification, June, did we have it on the 2 days? Was it also Tuesday and Thursday in June, or only in July?
It was.
It was in June as well, thank you.
Moving on to the expenses and revenue summaries for RLE General Government, we have expenses at $273,132, with revenues at $1,455,059, with a balance of $1,181,926.91. For RLE Recreation, expenses are $68,630.40, with revenues of $424,203, with a balance of $355,573. And for RLE Road and Street, we have expenses at $282,468, revenues of $2,187,131, for a balance of $1,904,662.95. For work orders for the month of July, we have 7 closed work orders and 1 open work order. Year to date, we have 48 closed and just 7 remaining open for the road crew team. They're doing a great job. And for rentals at the community center, we have 9 rentals booked year to date and 6 pavilions booked year to date. So we're seeing enough spike in the rentals as well.
I have the work orders. Can you enlighten me on what the work orders that are closed? Are those the work orders that are just submitted to the staff? Or are they work orders that the staff submits to the county?
The staff submits them to the crews.
To-
So whenever something is called into the office, they write a work order and that is submitted to the road crew.
So when I submitted that the trees need to be cut on those 2 roads, that's considered a work order?
Yes.
Wow.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for doing this, Katie. I really appreciate having this. This is great.
Okay, happy to do it. If there's anything else you want to see on this sheet, just let me know with the working document.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Now, normally I would go to Zach Jacobson, the Marion County Municipal Services Operations Manager, but he has chosen to leave Marion County for greener pastures, I assume, I hope. And on behalf of me and this board, could you thank Zach? I understand his last day is Friday. He was a pleasure to work with and quite helpful. So pass that along, please. Okay, Jennifer Normoyle, Rainbow Lakes Estates Community Center Supervisor. Do you have anything exciting and wonderful to add?
I have a few things. So, just to let you know, I know you had commented that Miguel has already done a great job on the parks, and he has. Just this past week, we've had fence repairs at Seacliff. We've had replacement lights put into the pavilion. He's corrected all of the nets that were loose there, and reattach them to the bases. And then he's also, there was a playground painting, a vandalism thing, Tiffany actually took care of that for him. So that was completed. And then also, we had the emergency repair, which you already mentioned, and then we also identified the dock caps, the missing dock caps that are off of the dock, and we are getting the materials to fix them, as well as figuring out a way where they cannot ever be removed again. So, yes, we're working on that with Miguel. And the other thing that's aside for our event is everyone has been asking for the pony rides back at Fall Festival, and we have already secured that.
Cool, awesome.
Excellent.
Now, one question. The caps for the dock, did you need scuba gear to go in and find them?
Miguel told me that he did fish a few out. However, he was not going to risk his life by getting in the water. And since it was his first week, I just thought it wouldn't be appropriate to ask him to swim with alligators.
And Katie, any word on missing infant swings for Seacliff?
Looks like Jen has an update.
So Miguel is actually trying to identify, we have purchased some, but we don't believe that they're the correct type. So we're seeking the materials for all parts, the one here at Community, as well as Seacliff, to replace any missing swings. So it's in process.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, moving on to our special committee guests. Chad Wicker, Municipal Service Director, do you have anything to add or say?
Just that I would like to welcome the new board members and thank you for your time and volunteering and investing in the community. I'm excited to work with you guys, and if you need anything, feel free to reach out to us, the district office or the admin office. We're there to help you. And then the rest of my updates you already have on the agenda, so I'll cover those when we get to them.
Thank you, Chad. Lieutenant Julie Bowinkle, Marion County Sheriff's Office.
Hi. Happy to report, no new trending crimes. Hopefully you're still seeing our men and women out here stopping cars. We did have a proactive detail about a week ago, and we're looking at putting on a couple more. So hopefully you'll see them in here more during that time.
I have yours. Thank you.
Are you writing tickets? Are they
Me
writing-
personally,
No,
I
ma'am.
am not.
As the detail writing tickets?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
that's what they're, it's not a paid detail by you guys, it's something we're paying just to get them out there stopping cars, so yes.
In the past, we've had details out here and they did not write tickets.
Yeah, if you guys, the other thing you guys can do, you can hire a deputy as a detailed deputy to come in and write tickets, stop cars and write the tickets.
I believe we did at one point hire an agency that, wasn't that budgeted? Is that still in the budget?
You can absolutely do that.
I think that's something we
If
may
you're
need
having
to look
issues
into.
on the weekends, I mean, I tell the guys to come through here, you know, to try to keep those parties and stuff from going on, but they're swamped with calls, so they're gonna go to calls for service before they can
Oh,
get
yeah.
it.
And that's what
Oh, that
everybody
makes sense,
deserves,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I believe we had them at least once to twice a month, but then from November all the way through the end of the year, because the crime rate rises in the holiday season. You know, I actually went online and we have a 13% lower than average crime rate in Rainbow Lakes Estates.
You know, being honest
If
with
we
you guys,
virtually have
you really don't
nothing.
have a lot going on in here, other than the beaters.
Yeah.
You know, I can't speak for everything that we haven't been told, but, beaters, most of the crime in here is, you know, a domestic, verbal argument, things like that, but, you know, there's not a lot.
Yeah, if you go on the Facebook,
Not on something
if you go on the Facebook groups, it looks like we're crime ridden from one end of the neighborhood
There
to the
really
other.
is not a lot
But
going
it's
on.
absolutely, and there's a huge difference between calling in a crime and it actually being a crime. You might think there's a crime going on next door, and you find out it's just a kid climbing into his mom's house because he locked himself out.
Your main
And
issue,
that's what I notice are posted mostly in the groups, or when they're calling dispatch versus waiting for the officer's reports to be
a
actually
lot
filed.
of times what we see happen too is that a lot of times people just want to go to the internet to say what's going on. and they've never reported anything that's being talked about on the internet. So if they don't call, or if it's called in anonymously, and it's not an actual crime, if somebody calls in and says, oh, I hear loud music, a truck driving by, and they say that it's anonymous, they're probably not going to send an officer to that. They're going to bolo it out, you know, hey, if anybody's in the area, look for it, but if not, they close it. Now, if somebody calls in and they want to call back, then they're going to send an officer. Now, if it's a crime, that's a different story.
The sheriff's department does have a form online report.
You can do an online
You can do it,
report.
but you have to have people identifying themselves, and
Yeah.
that's the whole problem.
Well, and you don't want to wait to report something. I mean, it's like you see something, say something. Report it at the time that it's occurring, because after the fact, you know, if you know that it's happening at the time, you're calling the time. That's the best thing to do.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Actually,
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
These side-by-sides, that people are starting to drive around, you know, like glorified golf carts, are those, they're not legal on the street?
Not if they're not registered. I mean, some golf carts are registered.
Yeah, but
If
they'll
they're
have,
not street, then
they'll have a little plate though, won't they?
they're not, yeah.
Because,
And it just depends on how much of an issue it is. I mean, some neighborhoods, it's just kind of, you know, if nobody complains about it and it's just a weekend thing, or if they're on their own private property.
Yeah. Well, the reason I ask is that, and I could care less who drives what around, to be honest
Right.
with you. It's just, there's somebody in here who 10:30 drives down the street. I work on my garage, and they're wearing their music, and they got this horn. It's just like, then the other day, they were like slowing down, but, you know, kind of see, it's like, they're being, that's a nuisance.
Right.
I was just curious.
Well, and again, like if that does happen, then just call in that, hey, there's, you know, they're on a side-by-side, or riding down the road with loud music, and they'll send somebody to that, leave your name though.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
number and
this is
stuff
a
like
big
that.
one, it was like 8 people.
Yeah.
Jesus. They got a party on wheels. Yeah, but thank you.
Thank you, as always. All right, moving on. Oh, we jumping right now into old business. 6A, clubhouse renovation, relief center. Do we have a progress report on the ongoing renovations at the Rainbow Lakes Estates Clubhouse? At this time, again, we will not be discussing or considering the designation of the clubhouse as a hurricane relief center. That discussion will take place only after renovations are complete.
Yes, sir. We are almost finished with the permitting process. We had a comment for plumbing, we had a comment for HVAC, and the health department had a comment. Our contractors are dealing with that comment. They're responding to that comment with the building safety department, and then we should get our permit.
And since we do have some new board members, what areas are not being, because I know that several areas are not being renovated. I
Right.
believe the shower rooms in the front that
Correct. The
Are
storage
shut down,
areas,
or-
yeah, the storage areas, and then there's a storage area right before you get into the main area. Those are not being remodeled at this time, could be in the future. So anything that the public sees and walks through will be remodeled, all the other areas will not be.
and the major thing is they will be ADA compliant, yes, sir.
Will be ADA compliant.
That kind of comes as one of the most important parts of the renovation.
Yes, sir.
All right, what's the timeline for renovation after the permit's been issued?
I'll have to get you that answer. I don't want to give you very long. I do that to your job.
I just wanted to verify that I had the correct total amount. What did you have on the list? I'm looking at 213.5.
I believe that's the most recent. Yes, sir. I don't have those numbers with me. I'm sorry. I should have had that. Yeah, I believe that is the correct information. I can check it.
And then I do, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chad. All right, moving on. 6B, boat ramp fees and penalty ordinance. It is my understanding that the Marion County Legal Department is in the process of updating our boat ramp fees and ordinance to be consistent with those of other county facilities. Would you provide an update on the progress at this time?
So for 6B boat ramp fees, 6B county fees, and
accordance with the rules, no, I don't have anything at this time. We're pending, as we said, the information to come back on the ordinance. And once that comes back, I'll have lots to say.
Thank you. I'm sure you will. Okay, moving on. 6C, Levy County recreation fees. Could you provide an update on the efforts to assess recreation fees for Levy County residents of Rainbow Lakes Estates so they are aligned with the fees currently paid by Marion County residents? I would appreciate hearing about any recent developments, challenges, or the next steps related to this initiative. I also want to thank Daniel Schusen for his continued dedication to addressing the differences between the two sections of our district.
That will be included in my update from legal once we have it.
That's what I thought. She's waiting for that ordinance piece to come through. Are we, but Jack, are we prepping that final?
We are.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, now this I think was already answered today. Volunteer appreciation. I understand that the district offices currently organize a volunteer appreciation luncheon. We all know that without our dedicated community volunteers, none of our dinners or special events would be possible. Their selfless donation of time and efforts helps make Rainbow Lakes Estates a better place to live. Might we have an update on the plans for the luncheon?
Yeah. Wow, guys, it wasn't even on this whole time. Okay, so yes, so we do have a luncheon. It is on the 17th, and during the luncheon, we're going to also have an idea board so that we can get some of the feedback from all of the volunteers that they've been wanting to give. So, and we can use that in the future year, and it's currently in progress. So the actual invitation has already been designed. We're just waiting on final approval and setting it up to be sent out. So,
And will there be cake?
do you want cake?
Do I look like I
Is there a
eat
special
cake?
request for cake? Because if so, we will try to make that happen.
Dallas wants cookies.
Okay, okay.
I just want to make sure that we are fully appreciating our volunteers because they do a lion's share of work at these events. And without them, events would not happen. Right? They would not happen at all. We have to take care of our volunteers. We have to appreciate them. And I can't appreciate them enough because we owe them everything.
So
I absolutely agree.
we also are currently brainstorming some ways to acknowledge volunteers on a monthly basis as well as an annual basis. And we're looking for some cool names. So that will be another way that we'll be recognizing volunteers throughout the year.
Okay, well, I guess my main point here is that people have ideas. They need to be taken seriously. They need to be considered. And they can't just be cast aside because people who volunteer. Just because they don't have the idea does not make it a bad thing. Our volunteers do have excellent ideas. As a matter of fact, a lot of the good stuff that's come here is because of volunteers. So I want to be sure that that is how we're doing this.
That is what the volunteer, the idea board is for at the luncheon, yes.
And then just to reiterate, you're going to meet with the volunteers about quarterly?
Yes, we're going to set up quarterly meetings as well.
Brainstorm, get ideas.
The first one is the luncheon. We just want to recognize them at first, get to know everyone, and then, yes, we will be setting up quarterly touch bases.
Jen, I want to thank you for taking care of so many of these little issues that you're seeing that have been overlooked for so long because
We are trying.
a lot of our volunteers actually quit. Some have rejoined, I believe, but they actually quit because they felt that
I will
they
be
weren't
my
needed or wanted.
absolute best because I do appreciate any assistance. We are a small but mighty team, and like you said, we will not be able to do what we do without volunteers. So if there are further ideas at the luncheon, if something still needs to be discussed, my door is open. You can meet with me at any time.
And past administration, we had volunteers that were disrespected right to their face and in public. And that, there's no excuse for that. And that's just not right.
What's that?
We can't have people being disrespected. Can't do that.
All
volunteer.
But I keep looking.
And you do serve at the event, so yes, you will be invited.
Yeah, okay.
And when you say administration, you mean the district office, right? Correct.
Right.
Yeah, we're not on your.
I didn't know.
Oh, wait, back that up a little bit.
And correction, it was not me. That was Ms. Tracy.
I
I'm
just
new.
didn't want to offend the volunteers.
We don't
I wanna
mind
make
shoving
sure
the
it wasn't
blame
us.
over there, okay?
Yeah, I'm new.
We'll blame Zach, Chad, okay, you're off.
It's a new day, right?
All right.
Volunteers that are able to come to the lunch and they work.
We haven't figured that out yet. If there's enough then, because we just got the idea of to get the invitation, if we do receive something back where enough people aren't, we can shift the time and the date. So we're open to that input.
All right. Moving on. 6E signage project. The board is eager to hear about the signage, how the signage project is progressing. Could you provide an update on the current status, including which signs have been replaced or newly installed, which signs are still scheduled for replacement or installation, any challenges or issues that might be slowing the progress? We also want to help ensure that this project moves forward smoothly. Please let us know if there is anything the board can do to support or expedite this work.
Okay, so on the signage. When I update one of those signs, I'm gonna have to bring it into compliance with our public relations policy. And the signs that we currently have do not, they don't satisfy that policy. And so I want to do a mass update on the signage, and because like we have the signs that are up at, near the light project, the brick wall. And so if we need to update those signage, I would like to do all of the signage at one time so everything matches. And so that's,
I want to make.
Are you talking about changing the color of it?
yeah, we're gonna have to add the county seal.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah, yeah, all signage that is related to Marion County Board of County Commissioners has to follow the PR guidelines.
What color are the county signs?
It usually matches our logo colors. There's orange and blues in there.
They're not that ugly green, are they?
No.
Oh.
No. It's actually
No.
rather attractive.
Now, as far as the signs, you know, would this include the baseball field sign that says that the park is open dusk till dawn?
I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. If
I mean, we're all gonna go out and play baseball at midnight.
If you,
We're gonna keep that one.
it says dusk till dawn, but you
No.
guys wouldn't let us put lights up. I'm like, I'm sorry.
And
Don't get it.
we did fix the lights, but
And
just
it-
to let you know, we are looking at a temporary solution until we print new signs and just switching the verbiage there.
Oh, that'd be great.
To make sure so people know it is from dawn
Dawn
to
till
dusk,
dusk.
not dusk to dawn, not overnight. So we'll make it as neat as possible until we do the full update.
And this would include the signs for the community center complex, Tiger Lake Boat Launch, Winding Hills Park. Also, because of an issue that came up this week, will we be updating the no dogs allowed? And will we be putting up signs that say no motorized vehicles?
Those
On the
we're working
property.
on now. Those type of signs I can go ahead and order because they're just notices. I'm talking about like the decorative signs that label the buildings and that represent the community. Those signs I have to redesign to meet public relations guidelines.
Okay.
Because, you know,
What about street signs? Does that
I
include
believe
street
we
signs?
just redid the
Street
street signs.
signs are standard.
Standard, okay,
Yes,
yes.
yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because we have the law, the way it's written, and what's allowed and not allowed. But yet, how do you enforce it when the resident doesn't see a sign that,
Correct. Those signs are being ordered.
you know, says that you can't have a motorized vehicle on the dock,
Yes, sir.
for an example?
And if you'll look around the complex, you'll see some temporary signs that are up right now.
Right, okay.
We also need
Just
to
want
be
to make sure they were
careful
all
with
part of the
that,
plan.
What was that? You need to be careful with that too, because you can't eliminate ADA vehicles.
talking about wheelchairs and stuff. Exactly, yes, sir.
Okay. I'll go home and get my jazzy out. I don't think that includes if a jazzy goes out on the dock.
It does that in the definition, does it? He's talking about motorized.
All right. Anybody else about the signage? And you'll keep us updated.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah,
agree.
but I think we're gonna have to have a discussion about the one in Newfield. The sign that's on 337. That one was, we just got that sign fixed and up, and now you're gonna replace that.
Over in Levy County.
Yeah.
Over in Levy County on County Road
You
337.
talking about your entrance sign?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is something that we're waiting for that, front, traffic light problem to be fixed before we actually address and replace all the signs. Because we like to do it all together, so we're not doing it like right now. It would probably be next budget year if we were looking at the sign project and updating everything. So I do recognize there's some that we can leave out, or if there's something we need to talk about, we can.
I believe he's referring to Levy County, the Levy County sign over there on the other side of the road.
That's
Yeah.
exactly the one I'm talking about.
Which
right.
wouldn't be affected by Marion County.
Oh, but it better be. If
Yeah.
they're rebranding, they're gonna have to include all signs. I am not putting up with that anymore. I have fought for 3 years to eliminate that county line that runs in this district. I'm not going backwards. If Marion County is doing signage that's all new throughout RLE, it needs to include the Newfield division.
That's fine, so if Levy County decides to change their sign, they should replace all.
Levy County won't ever touch that sign.
We
It's not
replaced
there.
that sign.
We all,
Wow, I remember when
Right.
there wasn't a sign and we asked for a sign to be there.
That, ironically, the sign that was never replaced was at the end of,
Ridgewood.
Ridgewood.
It's
They
just-
never
but it's gone.
replaced the sign at the end
It's
of
gone.
Ridgewood.
I will slow walk the entrance sign.
So I take it our little fish logo is dead in the water?
I've never seen that.
Yeah, if you go into, online and search the history, there's actually a logo of a fish jumping over a little lake and all that. There might be a rainbow in it. You should actually have it on some of the, do you have some of the old brochures that came out
No,
when this was
but
developed?
I will tell you that my predecessor had some little ornaments in her desk that had different ones. So it was like she was.
I'll see if I can track it down.
But
I
yeah,
might have it on
but
my
we can
computer.
only, yeah, I don't know. the rules are. Whatever.
I'm dropping
Maybe
it
we'll
there.
start from the middle and move out. How about that?
Whatever chief says, that's good.
Anybody else about sign? Okay. Okay, new business and board items. 7A, this should be fun. Removing fees for the youth center and fitness center. The County Municipal Services Department has recommended removing the membership fees for both the RLE Youth Center and Fitness Center. I would like to hear from the county regarding the reasoning behind this suggestion, as well as input from the board members on whether we should move forward with removing these fees or maintain the current structure.
The recommendation at this time is just the youth center, and again, that will be part of the proposal that comes from legal, and it will come to the board for you guys to review before it goes to the board of county commissioners.
yeah, because
There's no change to the fitness center.
No change to the fitness center, just the youth center.
it doesn't matter to me. Fees are fees, especially with those two facilities, because the fitness center collects a fee from the members, and that fee goes to maintaining the equipment within the fitness center. The same thing applies to the youth center. There are game consoles, there are pool tables, there are all kinds of equipment over there that's going to require maintenance. And we just sat here 3 months ago trying to whittle out the budget so that the recreation department would close on a balanced budget. Now you're sitting here and saying that you're going to eliminate fees? I'm sorry.
kind of giving something for paying that recreation fee for those who are paying that into that tax. And I'd rather have that Lee County recreation fee money coming in.
And I want to point out that there was no fee for the recreation center until we put a card reader in that cost $5,000. When we put a card reader in that cost $5,000 plus, there was a fee added to offset the cost of that card reader. So up until 4 years ago, my mistake if I'm off, there was no fee to utilize the fitness center. There was a registration process and a code, but there was no fee for that. So I'm just pointing out that the reason we have a fee for the gym is because of the card reader. That was the way it was pitched here, because there's a line item in the budget that's supposed to repair the equipment, and I would question, when was the last time we purchased new equipment for that gym?
Actually, I can answer that. That was less than 3 months ago.
What did we buy?
A treadmill.
Just so you know, the fees for the youth center were to pay for offset the cost of events for the kids, pizza parties, a Christmas party that we would help hold over there, which now we don't do because of the Christmas party that's over here.
Right, and
But-
now that our recreation fund is operating a little bit differently, it doesn't quite make as much sense as it did in the past. And there still would be a non-resident fee. So if you're coming in from outside of the residential area and not paying that tax, then you would have a different fee. It's just the benefit of being a resident and regulated state.
All right, what I'll say is I'll table my issues until we see what you propose.
Okay, I'm good with that. Mike, the problem I have, and I've probably said it already, the county came in a few years ago and they screamed revenue, revenue, revenue. They pushed the board to have these fees in place. They pushed the board to increase the fee, rental fees for these buildings and what have you. And now we've lowered the fees for this building. You want to eliminate the fees for two of our facilities. And we're not a bunch of yo-yos. We're not going to go back and forth every time somebody gets a position in the county and then comes up with a new idea of what we should and shouldn't do. We want to be consistent. Either we have fees or we don't have fees. And I don't want to be sitting here in 2 years and have somebody come in and say we need revenue again. That's my issue.
No.
With the explosive growth going on in Rainbow Lakes Estates, recreation fees, recreation money is appropriated through that process, the taxing process. So we will have considerably more recreation money. We'll have considerably more money for road improvement, and of course, but we're also going to have a lot more traffic and a lot more use of them. So the fees, I don't know. I just don't think the fees really are necessary. I really don't. But like Dallas said, if it's done, it stays that way. Not going to change it.
We're gonna rely on whatever the county attorney tells us, so she's looking at that right now, and she's gonna come with us, and we're gonna present to the board what they come up with. But a lot of it has to do with trying to align ourselves so we can take on Levy County as well, and make it all one big community. So it's part of that, which is what she's working on.
All right, well, we're going to move this to keep it on the agenda. And I can see now, I think we're going to have a split board on this, so there better be a lot of room back and forth here. Okay, boat ramp at Little Lake Bonneville. And again, I intended to discuss this last month, I intended to discuss it again this month, but I still feel that due to the recent vandalism at the Tiger Lake boat launch, that this isn't the appropriate time, and I'm just going to move this forward to next month, because I believe the next issue, 7C, is more important and should probably come before we reopen that boat ramp. Okay, so we're moving on to 7C. Additional security and safety preventive measures. We are all aware of the recent destructive damage to the Tiger Lake boat launch area. Unfortunately, vandalism within our district has not been limited to the boat ramp, but has also affected our dock, playgrounds, and ball fields. I would like to hear input from both our board members and county officials as we begin working towards a solution. The time has come to consider additional measures to ensure the safety of our residents and prevent these issues from continuing. Okay, so I'm throwing this on all you guys.
Okay. Lieutenant Bowling asked me if she needed to stay, and I didn't think she needed to be here.
What's that?
Lieutenant asked me if she needed to stay, and I told her I didn't think she needed to be here. But our concerns with public safety here, we don't have the crime problems that other areas have, and we don't have some of the other issues that some areas have. But being remote, we're very remote. We're far from a lot of services. So it behooves us to tread carefully on this. Well, I'll leave it at that. We need to be careful that we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Another thing, public safety. We have discussed in the past possibility of getting a few vehicles and doing our own patrols. We talked about this before. We got county lawyer told us no, we can't do that because it's not authorized by a chief or a municipality. Well, this is just a bunch of people that want to drive around our area, and if they see something, call it in. I have absolutely no problem with that. We've had offers as far as vehicles. People have a used car that they don't need anymore. If it's a viable vehicle, I don't see why we can't do that. I think that would be something that we do have the people here that would be perfectly willing to do it. Matter of fact, I've got a Rainbow Lakes Crime Watch shirt, 2 of them, and a hat. I can do it right now. Off I go. So this is something that we would like to be talking about in the future. It doesn't have to happen immediately, but it's something that it's been on my mind, and I believe it's been on other board members' minds as well.
Well, George is to talk about in the future, and that's 7C, this is the future.
I have a couple questions on the board. So, is there still an ongoing investigation to the damage that was done at the boat ramp over there?
No, that was closed yesterday.
Okay, so the investigation is done. Where was there costs to Rainbow Lakes Estates to repair the boat ramp so it would be open and usable and safe?
I believe it is reopened, and what was the cost associated with the repairs?
There was no cost associated with it.
You used our roads and maintenance department?
We used a contractor, but he didn't charge us to fix that area. There wasn't enough damage for him. He just helped us out and smoothed it over.
Is this a contractor that's got the roads contracted? Okay. I think, it's on.
Thank you. I understand about the car and the driving around and that. That's fine as long as you're driving around when somebody's doing something. But I really think that you're better off to have cameras on the areas that are mostly effective, because they're not going to do this stuff while you're, driving around. The stuff over at Little Barnwell, that's done on the weekends and things.
I think that's part of a solution as well, is to have cameras that are more high-def cameras
Right.
facing the dock and
And our
the playgrounds.
and
Also,
operation.
possibly some type of barrier such as a wooden type guardrail, boulders, or something that would block these vehicles from actually being able to get to Tiger Lake. We've seen them in Goth and
other state parks. I believe Rainbow State Park has, and they're just wooden, and they block vehicles from actually getting up to the bank of, you know, because part of the big issue with this was the displacement of the sand crane nest, you know, so I think that's something that we should look into possibly also. I also want to bring up another fact. When our youth center was opened 7 years ago, the hours were weekends, and we've had this discussion in the past. Our vandalism dropped to almost zero because you're not going to get the kids targeted from 14 to 19 to come out at 6 o'clock in the afternoon and play pool, what have you. It gave them something to do after that, and I think a big thing is we have things for the little kids to do here. We have things for adults with our special dinners and what have you. Exactly what is targeted here for kids between the ages of 14 and 19? What does our recreation do to get these kids to stop being so bored that they're damaging the property in Rainbow Lakes Estates?
Now that we have rec staff, we are looking at having some Saturday events. We're gonna start it out as a once a month, having a Saturday event and invite kids in. If it's successful, we will absolutely continue on those weekends. Again, we're not gonna do the late nights. We're not gonna have, the youth center won't be open until 11 p.m., but we will have alternatives. We are planning on expanding recreation from those demographics.
I also need to address the car situation. That will never happen. According to the attorney, our risk management, the Board of County Commissioners, when they are out here during the budget discussion, that will never happen. We can keep making the request, but it's not going to happen because of liability reasons. The cameras we can look into, obviously because we're in such a remote area, it's hard to get cameras with Wi-Fi, that type of thing. We are looking into something like a game cam with a cellular, but again, because of where we're at, I'm not even sure if that would work. All of that has to go through IT. We have to make sure that we're using systems and brands that comply with the law that governments are allowed to use, you know, the whole China thing. And so that is a process that we're looking at. The barrier out there is a great idea. That is something that we're also looking at, possibly putting a barrier closer to the waterway so you can't dredge your truck or whatever it was they were doing. And then also, you know, I agree. I mean, I think we should be very cautious how we react. Only because this has happened how many times? Like, it's not like it's happening every, you know, it's not like an habitual thing. And even though we're not pressing charges on this occurrence, if it happens again and we catch them, we will trespass them. And we're putting signage out that's going to allow us to do more things like that. And so I would just caution the board not to try to make, like Kate was saying, just be very cautious on how we're moving forward. All of that costs money. We have a 5-year plan. We're trying to work towards that 5-year plan. So all of these little offshoots that we're doing is pulling from those reserves.
Yeah, and I agree with, you know, not jumping the gun, but we also have to consider the fact that, you know, with these ruts, for instance, that were put in there, what was the liability had a resident walked in there and fell into that? I'm sure the lawsuit would have been a lot more than, you know, so I think that we do need to keep this on the agenda. The county look into whatever they feel they can do, possibly speak to somebody in engineering as far as some kind of barriers. And I would appreciate if the board members would also investigate what they feel would be something. As far as a crime watch, I realize we do not have a crime watch. I doubt that the sheriff is going to allow a crime watch to come back in here. I would believe that if we were to start a citizens on patrol, that would probably have to run through some type of donation thing that would be independent of the county completely.
It could not be RLE sponsored. When I say RLE sponsored, it could not be the MSD.
It could not be sponsored by the county,
Right.
but can it be sponsored by this board?
It cannot be sponsored by the MSD. You are an adjunction of Marion County Board of County Commissioners.
be completely independent and run on donations from community members and what have you.
You can't house the cars here, nothing can be tied to the MSD.
I have a suspicion that were that the case and it were to run on donations from the residents, I actually think that there is a possibility that if they started their own organization of a citizens on patrol, you know, I myself, as cheap as I am, I would open my checkbook for that. And we all know I am cheap.
We can also encourage residents to report things that they see,
Yes.
not necessarily they have to be on patrol, but if you see something, encourage people to call up and report it.
All right.
I mean, I can run it by legal, but it'll definitely have to be its own non-for-profit LLC and corporation.
It would have to be
can't carry our
independent.
logos, it can't say Rainbow Lakes Estates Municipal District, none of that. It would have to be its own entity.
Right. I realize that. That's what I'm saying. It had to be some totally volunteer organization, which probably, ironically, is probably how it first started back then, you know. So, George, that's something to consider if he knows people that would be involved in that. Okay, well, we're going to leave that on the agenda for next month, and hopefully, and I would appreciate some input from the board and, you know, ideas. We know you got plenty. All right, moving on. Prior meeting updates. Do any board members have any updates or follow-ups from previous meetings they would like to discuss at this time?
I've got questions.
Steve, can you move your microphone
I
closer?
can, I'm sorry, how's that? Did we ever get a count of how many residents there are within the borders of Rainbow Lakes Estates?
I put in the request with our building safety, because I don't want to give an incorrect number from the data that I know was pulled, so I'm still waiting on getting that one. I'm hoping to set up something where I can have that data and include it in my staff report.
Okay, the things I asked were the number of permits that have been issued this year. I figured January 1st was a good date, and I don't care if we go back to October 1st, doesn't matter. And then I assumed statements, certificates of occupancy. And so I was just curious because way back when it was 1,400. It isn't 1,400 anymore.
I think you'll get, well, I believe that the last census said there were 1,600 homes.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one there, yeah. So that was
I think you can get a number on the homes that have been built in the last few years and the permits that are issued, but as far as the actual number of residents, I think we would have to wait till the next census.
Yeah, the census numbers from 2020 showed a total population in here of 3,438. And like I said, that was back in 2020, so that's 5 years of substantial growth there. So,
that was my first.
I took a ride the other day off of Ivy, the few streets across from Ivy. I counted over 50 homes under construction on just 5 streets. That's just 5 streets.
So that was my first question. The second question was, did we ask to get a Florida flag up here? And what's the status on our Florida flag? The action, yeah, okay. That's cool. And then the last thing is, you know, we're at the Pines every year for Halloween. Halloween this year is on Friday. So can we make sure, if it's appropriate, that we ask to get Marion County Sheriff's Office to patrol there a little bit more? They usually come through about twice, but it's going to be on Friday. So we'll opportunity to have a lot more.
Yeah, the sheriff's department, the sheriff's department usually comes out.
They come through twice. We're up at the fire trucks every year.
And you're there every year.
We're there every year.
Yeah, so I believe that's a call that Jen has to make over here to the Marion County Sheriff's and Fire Rescue.
Yeah, we can absolutely ask them, or we can also ask our detail if we want to schedule them for that entire weekend. That might be a good idea.
We don't usually, it's very small incidents, but there are some, and we're waiting to delay for, you know, much more traumatic events, and we're lower on total, which is fine, that's the way it's supposed to be. But I just want to say we should be thinking about that. Because how long does fall apart?
You know, it's funny because I'm gonna jump back to, Jen showed me today the map for the Halloween event that we host here, which is actually going to encompass the majority of this area. Will you be there with the fire department?
Get invited?
And you know my feeling on that. That's a standing invitation in my book.
It is, I have autonomy to do stuff. But I need to, it shows that the community wants us there.
Right.
And so it just makes it better when we have a request. It doesn't have to go through the world, all I need is a request and I can push it on.
Do we make it with you or?
You can go either way. It doesn't matter, it gets the same result. I turn it into battalion 5 pushes it all the way up, just saying, hey, this is what's happening at Rainbow Lakes at 14. Or you can go straight to the fire department and say, hey, we want a detail specifically 14 feet back out.
Steve, do they have to specifically request Station 14 or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you will get however they dispatch, which we definitely don't want to pull 22, here for an event when they should be on call for the entire county, for the entire western part of the county.
Okay.
Hey, Steve, sorry. So you want the number of CO permits issued this year?
I would like to have a better understanding of the number of houses we have here.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because when we first started this, we used to use the number of 1,400 residents, and it was the number, and now we've had
1,400 structures.
1,400 structures, and now we've had this huge growth, and I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, let me check with the property appraisers. They may be able to give us a count of parcels with a structure on it. I'll get that.
And that's close enough. We're off by 100, we're off by 50, it really doesn't matter, but it'd be good to know that we have 5,000 in here now, or 3,000 in here now. I know that the county knows because they collect the taxes.
I was gonna say, when you approach the assessor's office, have them pull the community RL, just the RL. And they should be able to pull up anything that is pending, open, or recently closed. And they should be, you're running the same reports, they should be able to pull even for specific periods of time.
Dan, can you get that information for the Levy portion too? He keeps wanting to talk. He knows me well enough to know. Okay. Thank you, Steve. And Dan. All right, moving on, general public comment. I believe we have nobody signed up. Is there anybody that wants to come forward and say anything? Nope, that was quick. All right, moving on. Community announcements. Do any board members or guests here have anything they want to announce? No?
No.
Okay, I have a few things.
Dan wants his champagne Thursday.
Too late already.
Oh.
They're already a bottle in. I do want to meet up with the two of you after the meeting. I did review the budget and expense reports, and I have some questions, and you have a correction that you need to make. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to community announcements. I have a few. Coffee and conversation at the Rainbow Lakes Community Center. The Rainbow Lakes Estates Advisory Board invites all residents to join us and the staff of Rainbow Lakes Estates for coffee and conversation on Wednesday, September 10th. Is that September 10th? At 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the RLE Community Center. This informal gathering is a wonderful way to connect with your neighbors, enjoy a cup of coffee, and share your thoughts in a relaxed setting. It is also a chance to meet the RLE staff and advisory board members, ask questions, and learn more about what's happening in our community. We encourage everyone to stop by, even if only for a few minutes, to join the conversation. Your voice and input help shape the future of Rainbow Lakes Estates. We look forward to seeing you there. The plant swap.
The next RLE plan swap will be held right here in the community center on Tuesday, September 16th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Come on out. It's a fantastic way to diversify your plant collection, find new and unique varieties, and connect with other gardeners in our community. The RLE Meet and Eat Dinner. The next Meet and Eat Dinner will be held right here in the community center on Friday, September 26th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will be serving chili. This is a resident-only event with no charge, and proof of residency is required. If you have any questions about proof of residency, please contact the RLE District Office. Come on out and get to know your neighbors. Okay. The next one, I'm a little confused with the name, so I'm going to ask Jen to correct me after I read the announcement. Our RLE 4th Annual Ghost Goblins and Ghouls Halloween event for kids will take place on Saturday, October 25th from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Youth Center in the Rainbow Lakes Estates Community Center complex. This year, a trunk or treat spectacular has been added to the event. Registration is required for those who wish to give out candy. Please contact the RLE District Office for more information. So what is the actual name?
The actual name is Spectacular Halloween because we've expanded it beyond the community center to include the entire complex. So it's all encompassed under that
So
header.
I'm writing here, just so I know. Spooktacular Halloween.
The other name is very long and hard to put onto promotional materials.
What's that?
The other name was really super long. So we just wanted to shrink it down because on a lot of on social media, it clips those off. So people can't read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just as long as I have, because I have two names running around here.
Spectacular Halloween.
Okay. All right. The Fall Craft Festival will be held on November 8th at the Community Center Complex. Both indoor and outdoor spaces are still available. Please contact the RLE District Office prior to October 20th to secure your spot. And Jen, the advisory board does reserve a table
Yes.
inside, and if it could be close to the front, that'd be great.
We have that, and also just to let
Not a
everyone know.
card table in the foyer, please.
I know. Just to let everyone know, the indoor spaces are going fast. There's only a very small amount of indoor space left.
Okay. Our next advisory board meeting will be on Thursday, September 18th at 6:30 p.m. in the Community Center Complex. I want to thank you all for coming, and we look forward to seeing you next month. This meeting is adjourned.
Tiffany. Yes, sir.